Many of you may have seen my last video in which I defended myself against the accusations that I am the most evil man alive. And the explanation that we gave was adequate for everyone, except one man. The Camellius Reptilius, also known as Killer Keemstar. Let me address this head on. I am not someone that supports going after somebody's sponsors and trying to cancel them for something bad they've said. Keemstar's identity as I'm not a journalist. This is not the New York Times. What research do you expect me to do?
War never changes.
Hello, denizens of the internet, and welcome to the underworld that we call YouTube. Well, there are certainly beautiful women here.
No, unacceptable.
You won't be able to court any of them. I've made it no secret that I'm not a fan of the current YouTube landscape. Not a lot of people are nowadays, as YouTube in the last few years have shown themselves to be a bunch of cowardly lots who love to stifle the creativity of the up-and-coming, meanwhile putting their biggest creators on pedestals, as if they were gods. And today we're talking about a couple of those gods, and as much as how the fictional gods of the past were presented, they are insanely flawed. I'm of course referring to H3H3 and Keemstar, the drama that surrounds them. So join me as we take a look at the current situation of these two men, and why it's just so plain boring. I think the best way to start our journey isn't with the beginning of H3H3's or Keemstar's origins. Not only does every single video talking about the situation do that, it gets boring and tedious, and that's the last thing I want to go through with this video. I mean, this subject's already as boring as all hell, and I'm getting tired of talking about this stuff. Besides, I had to go through countless H3H3 and Keemstar clips, and I'd like to keep some semblance of sanity here.
He found a guy who impersonates Jesus and got him to say Hitler did absolutely nothing wrong.
But really, our story actually begins with a character named Some Ordinary Gamers, or Muta, and his videos that belong in the trash bin. Let's be honest, Some Ordinary Gamers videos were probably the worst videos made about H3H3. They were poorly researched.
Now, as far as I'm considering this, $100 million is $100 million. That is a lot of money that has gone to save lives and fight against this pandemic. Ethan did the exact same thing. He looked at Jeff Bezos, said, wow, the richest guy in the world only gave $100 million, and just completely shat on.
Warning! Warning! Bullshitter alert!
They were extremely egotistical, and all in all, they just sucked and were boring. That, my friends, is when lightning struck. And thus, this mess of a video popped up. And immediately, I can already tell that H3H3 fans are typing away fiercely in an attempt to become the first white knight for their coughing overlord. I'd like to remind you that not even a minute ago, I was agreeing that Muta's video was garbage. You can still see in the trash can burning over there. But in this situation, H3H3 wasn't that great either. His video was repetitive, obnoxious, overly preachy, and even crossed a few lines, such as the whole "you doxed me" issue, which has to be the dumbest logic I've heard about. What also doesn't help is that this is pretty much the only time that H3H3 ever responded to any actual criticism levied at him, at this point in time. And now, I am not counting the time on the podcast where H3H3 outright said, I agree with everything said about me. Why, you may ask? Well, not only did he not acknowledge who made the criticism, Gokunaru, but obviously, ever since then, he hasn't really improved. It wasn't until after the drama that we're currently dealing with that we've seen H3H3 admit that he will watch the biggest and best video that's criticized him. And even then, I'm still having my own doubts on that. But enough about that, let's get this crazy train back on track. Point is, Ethan has responded to criticism, and it was the lowest hanging fruit there. And that was what I believe started this next mess. Look, I like watching a monkey knife fight on the internet as much as the next guy. It can be pretty entertaining to watch two idiots with way too much free time on their hands slinging insults and stuff at each other in an attempt to make each other look like idiots. But, yeesh, this drama was some of the most boring drama around. Like, it wasn't even all that entertaining, and to be honest, I found these two jokers to be some of the worst content producers on the site because of this.
And he feeds on their people.
And you could see it in this drama. It was boring, barely anything was covered, and it was just way too bloated with hot air. Don't get me wrong, was what said Keemstar true? Yes, and he totally needed to be called out on it. Problem? He already was called out on it, and it didn't really do a dent in him. I know some people are probably going to type up, well, a lot of people didn't know this before. And yeah, I agree. Doesn't change the fact that this is still stuff that people talked about. And even if you watch H3H3's video on it, you can tell that he just basically took clips from other people about this matter. There's also the fact that H3H3, he shouldn't be the one talking about this stuff since there's so much that could apply to him in his own videos that he criticizes Keemstar for.
I've gone back and watched some of the old videos I used to make, like back in Israel, like before people used to watch our videos. And some of the stuff I was saying was outrageous.
So vulgar.
It was so vulgar. There was no hate or malice behind it, but I was so vulgar and so insensitive with the way I talked. I was so embarrassed by that person. So it doesn't represent who I am and what I would say today and how I feel. I was deeply horrified and embarrassed of this stuff. And I wouldn't want to be judged by that.
You really can't make this stuff up.
Ask your grandma about shit she was saying when she was 18. Grandma, you once, it says here, Grandma, that you once called a black person a Negro. Negro's not that bad. Elon winced.
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, it's funny, the whole...
I don't even go there.
Yeah, you had a panic attack when I said Negro. I don't think that's bad. I didn't say it, his grandma did. That guy's grandma's a freaking racist, man. I was so vulgar and so insensitive with the way I talked. Grandma, that you once called a black person...
They're pretty much just as bad. This is the kind of drama you expect to be this epic ballad where you enjoy watching people mess each other up. Like, this battle between two epic deities. But this?
Reptilius, the world's most deadly snake.
It's so boring! I mean, I was more entertained by Leafy and Rice Gum when they respond to iDubbbz. What's really the point of drama if there isn't any actual entertainment to it? Especially when you can clearly see that H3H3 structured his videos on Keem to be similar to that of iDubbbz's Content Cop. Only a lot more cringy.
The accusations that I am the most evil man alive. And the explanation that we gave was adequate for everyone.
Again, for those who are saying that this is important to expose Keemstar, let me ask you, what has actually happened to hurt Keemstar from this situation? Has Keemstar been kicked off the platform? No. Has his original videos been taken down? No. Really, the only thing that actually happened was that his sponsor G Fuel was lost, but that's really the only thing that's happened out of it. Meanwhile, you've got the greater YouTube community having a worse opinion of Ethan, especially when his videos all have him acting all preachy and boring as hell. Not to mention bringing up past drama that pretty much didn't bring anything new to the table. Look, if I wanted to be lectured by a sad sack, I wouldn't have graduated university a couple years back. The only reason why H3H3 looks good in this situation, much like my grades in the past, is based on what you have to compare him to. And that's Keemstar, one of the biggest rats on the platform. Compared to him, anyone else would look like a saint. And that's what Ethan is banking on, and it's actually working at this point.
Old Spice body wash can't block odor for 16 hours.
What? This one does, dummy!
The only thing that's resulted from this is Ethan decided to play a card that he himself was against in the past, and even stated so in this video.
You're not the only one who can set a trap card.
Let's face it, what Ethan did with this little escapade was popularize an already growing trend on YouTube.
But that, like, the only way to get YouTube to do something about this is to hit them where it hurts. And that's in their wallet.
The clowning has begun.
Sponsor shaming. And yeah, I'm well aware that Keemstar did the exact same thing. But notice how I'm not excusing him for it. When Keem did it, it was bad. And when Ethan did it, it was bad. I honestly had people defend this choice by saying it was a joke.
I activate my trap card!
And I have to say, that's really stupid. Not only because Keithan made public tweets supporting these jokes as actual points, but
Let me address this head on. I am not someone that supports going after somebody's sponsors to try to cancel them for something bad they've said.
People tend to forget that jokes can be used to make actual points. Jokes, while typically made not to be serious, can still be used to highlight issues and concerns. So you have to forgive me when I see this.
I am not someone that supports going after somebody's sponsor. G Fuel is as much a part of Keemstar's identity as his beard. He has it on his head in every video. He's got it on the desk in every video. And I also, if I recall correctly, the interview brought to you by the SWAT murderer was also sponsored by G Fuel.
Yeah, I don't buy that for a second, especially since by his own accord, normally I wouldn't condone going after sponsors. And this leads into the slippery slope. A lot of people are dismissing this issue as if it were millionaires fighting against each other and that people only care about millionaires' money now that's just affecting them.
It happens all the time. It happens to people working minimum wage jobs just trying to make ends meet. Why is it that when it comes to millionaire YouTubers, now we've suddenly crossed the line? Now we've gone too far. Oh, you're attacking their livelihood? That's way too far. That is just way too far, man.
Which nobody should go after people's sponsors if they're inhuman fucking scum.
If you do or say some despicable thing and your job is to be a public figure, then yeah, you should totally have that part of your life taken away because you're not responsible enough to handle it.
The clowning has begun.
For a video called You Are Missing the Point, the issue that people have with this tactic or of attacking sponsors isn't because it's on Keemstar or on H3H3. But the problem isn't that it's just happening between millionaires, it's a problem that'll spread. It's like a virus, and when a tactic is popularized, it'll spread. It's not like we haven't seen this before. You wanna know why people are against this? It's because people have seen this tactic be used en masse. Just last year, where sponsors were targeted for a situation that didn't really matter to them. We've seen innocent channels be affected by tactics like this, losing their ads, losing their sponsors, losing their comment section. And yes, this is something that has happened, it's been well documented. Get enough angry or bored people, and have them dig up what little insane thing about a person they didn't like said once, and complain to daddy companies and watch that person's livelihood disappear. Yeah, there's a reason why people are against that. It's already a pain on YouTube to make a living, so using these tactics and popularizing them, especially when you consider that both Keemstar and H3 have huge audiences, this is a thing will happen. And it's something that has happened already, as H3 has been reported to lose his own sponsors. You must be an idiot if you think this won't stick to YouTube sponsors. This will spread to other forms of money making. Patreon already has a track record of dropping people whom they view politically problematic. Do you believe that cancel culture wouldn't target people unnecessarily? Do you think a tactic like this wouldn't be used? We've seen people like Slazo and ProJared get smeared to the mud for allegations that proved to be misguided. And while I'll still contest that ProJared was an idiot for his situation, just imagine how much worse it would have been if these sorts of tactics were used during the time. Do I care if H3H3 or Keemstar lose their sponsors? No. Frankly, with how they act and such, I don't really care. Do I care about what the two have done in the past? Personally, no. Should they be held accountable for the stunts they pulled? Yes! Should other creators deal with these sorts of issues because of dick measuring contests between these two? No! Absolutely not. And it makes me mad that people can't even see the writing on the wall and how this will affect creators. But hey, I guess being a dumb little commenter doesn't really matter since you're just enjoying the content and don't have to actually, you know, make it. Ugh. Through this, I need a drink.